starting my video now. Hello, everybody. Here are 10, just kidding. Here are 9 of my favorite top benefits of water fasting or any sort of fasting. So I'm gonna get right into it. If you like this channel or if you like anything regarding fasting focused lifestyle, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and let's get going right now. So number 1, it changes your relationship with food. Because we all know that we have this thing about hunger, where as soon as we get hungry, we go get the food no matter what. But none of us actually take the time to understand what hunger is, how hunger happens, how it comes in waves, and how we can overcome this hunger. Because we're all busy going in that instant gratification, feeding ourselves as soon as we're hungry, and we don't understand that a lot of the time, even when you're hungry, you can actually just be thirsty. Right? You can be thirsty, you can be having some cravings, there could be a lot of things going on, but instead of actually taking the time to understand ourselves and understand the true hunger, whether it's the mental hunger or the physical hunger where your stomach is grumbling, instead of taking the time to evaluate that, most of us just go right to the cupboard, get some food, get our fix, and get out the door, right? So this is one important thing, is that when you're doing water fasting, it really changes your relationship with food to understand where your hunger comes from. And understand that a lot of the hunger that we experience is actually a mental hunger, just because we want something or we're craving something, but not necessarily because we're physically hungry. So that's number 1. Number 2, fasting boosts your brain function. So it actually boosts your cognitive function altogether. And I know a lot of people think that when you're doing fasting, you're gonna feel lethargic and foggy and lazy. But the truth is, for anyone who's done fasting or who's done longer, shorter, whatever types of fasting, people always say that they experience a lot of mental clarity. So all of a sudden, that brain fog that you have actually goes away. And all of a sudden, you feel more mentally clear. A lot of people talk about the euphoria. So when you get in this amazing mood and everything feels amazing and it feels like you're walking on clouds, that's something that people experience. And in general, when you do a water fast, it almost like recharges your battery of your brains, and it really makes you improve your cognitive function. You become more focused, you become more productive, and overall, you just become more sharp. That's how I feel. So a lot of people always asking me, hey, am I gonna be able to do fasting if I have exams coming up? I have to go to work every day. Am I gonna feel okay? For me personally, I always feel a lot more sharp, more productive, more focused, and more in tune with myself when I'm fasting. So I get a lot more done. I missed my finger. I get a lot more done. I work a lot harder. I'm a lot more productive. In terms of like my memory gets a lot better when I'm fasting, and I feel overall just clearer. So for me personally, just because I understand how my body works and how it reacts to fasting in a positive way, then I personally would be fine doing exams during water fasting, and I would actually prefer doing exams while water fasting, or if I have an important deadline or an important project coming up at work, or I don't know, writing a book or something like that where your mind has to be clear, I would 100% do it while water fasting, 100%. But then what I recommend for you guys is if you've never water fasted before, maybe it's better that you try it out first, see how your brain reacts, see at what point or what day that your body actually starts to get that mental clarity and gets rid of the brain fog, and then try it out yourself. Maybe if you're doing your exams, maybe it's not the best time to experiment with water fasting, just to make sure that you have the energy and that you're used to it. So if you've been doing water fasting for a while, you probably understand your body by now. If you're doing your exams, then why not just stick with some intermittent fasting for now, try out those types of protocols, ease your way into fasting in general, and then try a water fast later on. Up to you. If you want to go ahead and start it out right away, go for it. Just make sure you're checking with your doctor regardless of any fasting protocol that you're starting, because it's better to have a little bit of supervision, so check with your doctor first. Always going to say that. Personally, the times that I've done either 5-day water fasts or 21-day water fasts, whatever the length, I've always felt like those periods of time within my water fast were the times where my brain level and my energy in general was like at the highest peak of productivity. So for me, I know how it works for me. And think about that food coma that you experience. You know, if you're having a day at work and you go for lunch with your friends, I don't know, let's say you go for all you can eat sushi with your colleagues or something, then you come back to your desk later and all of a sudden you feel so lethargic and you feel heavy and you don't feel like working anymore. That's because you just ate. That's how you feel after you ate if you ate too much. So imagine multiplying that 3 times a day, and that's how many times people are usually eating. And I'm not saying that you eat that much at every sitting, but that's just an overall image that I'm trying to portray about how you're gonna feel after you eat, because you usually have that type of food coma. So if you're fasting, then that doesn't happen because you're not having that spike in insulin and then the crash. It doesn't happen when you're fasting because you're just gonna have low insulin altogether the whole time, and you're gonna feel a lot more balanced than having that food coma, lethargic type of grimy feeling after you eat too much. So that's one example that I can give you guys about why my brain feels better when I'm fasting and how my mind feels sharper, because I'm not having those dips in energy with all the lethargy and feeling blah, you know? So basically what I'm trying to say is that be careful, because a lot of the time the reason you're feeling lethargic is actually because you're eating too much. So keep that in mind. Check with your doctor. Blah, 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 blah. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know why I'm doing that. I don't know why I just did that. It just felt very natural to me. Number 3, fasting improves your gut health. Your gut health, okay? So remember, a lot of the time people don't realize that things like stress, ADHD, depression, anxiety, a lot of that comes from poor gut health. So if you're fasting and improving your gut health, it's actually gonna help naturally solve a lot of those problems. And I've had a lot of people in our community actually come up to me or message me and tell me, wow, I didn't know, but fasting actually really alleviated my symptoms of depression and made me feel a lot more upbeat, a lot more euphoric, and just better overall mood than they were when they were eating too much or eating poor foods, eating sugars, eating too many processed foods and carbs and things like that. So fasting can actually help with things like that. Your anxiety, your stress, ADHD, and depression. And a lot of those, like I just said, comes from poor gut health. So what fasting does is that it really focuses in on your stomach and improves your gut health overall, because fasting from all those bad foods and all the bad things that you're consuming on a daily basis gives your body the time to heal your gut and just become healthier and function at a more optimal level overall. So you guys know that if for whoever who's been watching my live videos, even when I was doing the long fast, I was vlogging every single day from day 1 to day 21. And a lot of people expected me to be super tired. But then when they watched my vlog and I was like super upbeat and happy and feeling great, walking on clouds, and everybody was like, whoa, I don't understand why she's not hangry. I don't understand why she's not tired. I don't understand all these things. So that's just an indicator that I felt great and I felt like I was on top of the world when I was fasting. And generally I am a bubbly person. Like right now I'm feeling great as well. But right now I'm getting to the end of my 24-hour fast because I'm about to eat my delicious OMAD meal. And if you don't know what OMAD is, it means 1 meal a day intermittent fasting. And that's what I'm doing now after my water fast. So I'm gonna move on to number 4. Number 4, it decreases your insulin resistance. What does that mean? Well, if you know many times in your life where you've tried diets over and over and over and just yo-yoed with them like this, then it's because you didn't fix the root cause of your obesity. The root cause of your obesity, which Dr. Fung talks a lot about in his book, The Obesity Code, and I'll put the image here somewhere. Here, somewhere. I'm not really sure what this is gonna look like, but I'll put the image of the book there so you see what the cover looks like, and I'll put the link down below. It's called The Obesity Code by Dr. Fung. He talks about insulin resistance a lot, and he talks about how insulin resistance is actually the root cause of obesity. It doesn't matter how many times you take the eat less, exercise more approach. Whatever you do, you might end up yo-yoing because you're not fixing the root cause of obesity, which is that insulin resistance. In order to fix your insulin resistance, you have to do some fasting. And because I said this in many videos before, our bodies are not actually programmed to eat 3 meals a day and 2 or 3 snacks a day. That's like 6 meals a day, okay? We're not meant to eat that much. Think about our ancestors, our hunter-gatherer ancestors. They used to go hunt for an animal, hunt for their game, gather everything together. They would feast on that, and then for a period of time until the next time they went hunting, they weren't able to eat. So that's when they were fasting. So our bodies naturally are designed to do this fasting and feasting procedure. Like this is the protocol we're supposed to be following. And the whole 3 meals a day and 3 snacks a day in the morning, afternoon, and late night, that's something that's super man-made. Because these massive food corporations are trying to sell us breakfast foods and snack foods and this food, that food, on-the-go food, running food, in the car food, takeout food, drive-through food, whatever it is. They're trying to shove everything down your throat so you can give them all your hard-working money, okay? That's what's happening. You're giving them all your money. You're like, here, take my money. I'm gonna eat all your food. And that's making you feel bad in the long run. So remember that. So if you wanna decrease the insulin resistance, fasting is gonna help you with that. And this can be done in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be an extended water fast. Just think about OMAD, where you're eating one meal a day, no snacking, no nothing in between, just one delicious, yummy, tummy, big meal a day, okay? You're gonna feel so good. I always do it for dinner time, and then I go to bed nice and full and my tummy's feeling happy. But you guys can do that meal whenever you want, whatever works for you. Another thing that you can do in order to continue fasting and decrease that insulin resistance is that you can try alternate day fasting. And people call this ADF. The other one was called OMAD, which is one meal a day. And this next one is called ADF, which is alternate day fasting. So you eat one day, fast one day, eat one day, fast one day, eat one day, fast one day, and you continue like that. That's gonna make you feel great too. Then you can also try other things like rolling 48. So you eat every 48 hours or every 72 hours, or you can do an extended water fast where, I don't know, once every month or something, you do a 5-day fast, a 7-day fast, 10-day fast, doesn't matter really. You get to pick the protocol that works for you. You listen to your body and you figure out what works for you. That's all that's important. Whatever works for you is what works for you. So don't worry about what everybody else is doing, and don't worry about what everybody's telling you, like, nah, do this one better works, this one does. Don't listen to me, listen to me. Like, just do what works for you. Because you're the person that knows your body at the end of the day. You know how you react, you know how you feel, and you're the one that's stuck with you forever. So do what works for you, whether it's OMAD, alternate day fasting, extended water fasting, or whatever you want. Do what works for you and fit it into your lifestyle. Okay? So if you like eating dinner every night, because that's when you have your social events, your events with friends, your work events, your family events, if it's dinner time, then do your OMAD at dinner time. If you know that you don't eat a lot during the week, then maybe do a water fast during the week and then eat on the weekends when that's a social period of time for you. So you pick what you want to do. But whatever you do, just do some sort of fasting at any point in your life in order to help you decrease that insulin resistance, to get to the root cause of that obesity and fix it. Okay? Is that clear? Clear? Crystal clear? Okay. Number 5, lose weight. This is pretty obvious. When you do fasting, you're not consuming calories, which is also decreasing your insulin levels, which means you're gonna lose weight. So think about that for a second, okay? If I fast, I'm gonna lose weight. Yeah, it's pretty obvious. So a lot of people ask me, how much weight will I lose in, I don't know, people are always asking me, how much weight will I lose in 7 days? How much weight will I lose in 10 days, in 14 days, 21 days? It depends on your body. It depends what your starting weight is. It depends how much you're losing. It depends on your history. If you were plateauing before, how far along you are in your journey, how tall you are, what gender you are, whatever it is, it depends. So I can't tell you you're gonna lose exactly this amount. It depends. Another thing to keep in mind is that water weight is gonna come off first. So you'll have this illusion that you're losing a lot faster than you are, but remember, some of that is water weight and some of that will come back when you start to refeed again. So when you start to break your fast and eat again. But the average that people are saying, so Dr. Fung always says the average weight loss is 0.5 pounds per day. So that's almost like a guarantee that in terms of actual weight loss, when you subtract the water weight, you will at least lose about 0.5 pounds a day. Now, it might not be linear. You might lose a bunch of weight at the beginning, the first like 5 days, and then it starts to taper off and you lose less and less and less. But overall, if you calculate it, after you regain the water weight, probably you end up losing about 0.5 pounds per day. Not to mention, you're not only losing weight when you're doing fasting, but you're also saving so much time, so much money. You're not doing dishes 3 times a day. You're not spending hours meal prepping every single day. You don't have to be fixated on, what am I gonna eat for lunch? What am I gonna eat for dinner? Oh my God, what am I gonna eat for breakfast? You don't have to fixate on food anymore. It really releases your mind and gives your mind some mental real estate to focus on other things in your life. A project, a hobby, something you've been having to do that's been on your to-do list for like 6 months. Do those things instead. because we're always so preoccupied with food that we don't have time to do anything else. It's crazy if you think about how much time we spend in our head preoccupied on food and thinking about food. It's insane. Number 6, it improves your skin. Every time I'm fasting, I always feel like, wow, after 4 or 5 days, my skin really starts to look flawless and clear, and I just feel great. And you guys have probably already heard this before, and if you haven't, then I'll tell you right now, but the process called autophagy that your body goes through while you're doing your fasting actually helps you reduce the amount of scar tissue and heal that scar tissue that you have. Not to mention, it's actually anti-aging and anti-wrinkling. So if you guys want this beautiful fountain of youth to slather all over your faces to get rid of your wrinkles, then fasting is actually what you have to do. And fasting, it comes in this magic bottle, okay? And it costs absolutely $0. And the only thing you have to do is not do something, which is eat. So instead of actually doing something, you're abstaining from doing something. You're abstaining from eating. So you have all this like magical free time all of a sudden because you're not eating, and you don't have to spend money on creams, and you don't have to spend like hours a day applying your face cream and your wrinkle cream and your décolleté cream. You don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is fast. I always notice this around day 4 or 5 when my skin just starts to feel amazing and starts to glow. And you know what they talk about, that pregnancy glow? I almost think that we should start a new word called, or a new term called, the fasting glow, because you really start to glow. And if you have experienced this, let me know down in the comments, because fasting glow is phenomenal. And you will know as soon as you know, like you'll know, I just don't even have to tell you. So remember, your body's detoxing. So if it was so unhealthy to fast, like people have this misconception that fasting's so unhealthy, then why is your skin so healthy and glowing while you're fasting? Most of the time people know if you eat poor foods, you're gonna have a flare-up of acne. Or if you're doing something, you're stressed, you have a flare-up of acne. But when you're fasting, you know your body's healing because your skin is healing. And your skin is really like the exterior facing part of your health. Because if your skin is healthy, you know you're healthy from the inside as well, right? So try to deny that fact for me and tell me that fasting's bad, because fasting is phenomenal. And that's an example that's very, very hard to ignore. So next time you think about buying that super expensive $200-300 cream, or you want to go get Botox or something, think about just taking a break from those for a second without spending money, and why don't you just try a little bit of a fast? Because I guarantee you, fasting is like natural Botox. So keep that in mind. Here's my little tip. Number 7, water fasting promotes longevity. Yeah, water fasting actually makes you live a longer, healthier life. So think about that. That ties in a little bit with the previous point where I talked about anti-aging and your skin. But overall, your body is actually healthier and lives longer while you're fasting. So think about that if you want to live a healthy and sustainable and long life. That's something that people don't think about. But they always say, well, the fasting people at least, they say, because the mainstream people, they don't know this, but the fasting people, if you're part of the fasting community, then you know that the less you eat, the longer you live. Because we're not designed to eat as much as we eat and as often as we eat. Number 8. One obvious benefit of fasting is actually that it just improves your overall health in general. So it lowers your chances of heart disease, it lowers your blood pressure, lowers your cholesterol. So if you have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, fasting's good for you. Not to mention that it helps you reverse your type 2 diabetes and treat a lot of different illnesses like skin conditions. I know people who have told me that they've treated eczema and psoriasis with it. I probably pronounced that wrong. But you get the point. I'll write it down below if I'm not pronouncing it right. I even saw a lot of articles out there that talk about how fasting actually aids in preventing and treating cancer by making your cells more receptive to the chemotherapy and protecting your other cells. Plus, it's natural. And people have been using fasting since the beginning of time. Before we had all this medicine out there, people were actually doing fasting and promoting fasting back in the ancient days in order to heal certain things. Like I said earlier, it's the act of not doing something that's actually healing your body. So how can it get any more simple than that? I mentioned this in another video, but you guys know that almost every single religion has some form of fasting for health. So whether it's Lent in Christianity, or in Hinduism and Buddhism when they're doing more spiritual fasting, or even in Judaism when they're having days like Yom Kippur where they're doing a full day fast. It's been programmed in humanity since the beginning of time that people do fasting for health. So no matter what, you can't deny the truth that every single religion out there, whether it's a spiritual or an actual religion, all have some form of fasting. And it could be fasting for meditation. It could be fasting from different things. It doesn't even have to be fasting from food necessarily. For the purpose of this video though, I'm talking about fasting from food and abstaining from food and water fasting. But in general, you can fast from other things, like fast from negative behaviors, fast from alcohol, fast from drugs, fast from a lot of different things in your life, fast from toxic people, fast from negative self-talk, like I just said. Like there's a lot of different things that you can fast from. But again, for the purpose of this video, I'm talking about fasting from food and abstaining from food. So not eating any food, no calories for an extended period of time. It's pretty obvious when you break it down that all these religions have fasting as part of their religion, that fasting is something healthy that you're supposed to be doing. And it's weird that we've conveniently forgotten that fasting was a thing and that fasting has become this like super alien, super taboo subject that people don't like to talk about because they think you're in starvation mode, or they think, you know, all these negative things that they say. I'm not even gonna go into this right now. Number 9, fasting helps you kickstart your journey. Whether it's your journey about quitting something like alcohol, carbs, sugar, whatever addiction you have, fasting can actually help you kickstart that journey. A lot of the time, this is not even about weight loss. Weight loss is a great side effect. But when you start to fast, it kickstarts this quitting of whatever addiction you have. I know a lot of people who have quit coffee. I know a lot of people who have quit alcohol. I know a lot of people who have quit sugar. And sugar is like that mysterious addiction that everybody kind of knows they have, but nobody really treats it like a true addiction. So by fasting, you kind of force yourself to quit sugar for a couple days, and then when you refeed, you don't want to put sugar back in your body, and you realize how toxic and how addictive sugar is. And you know that simply from the first couple days, like the first 3 days of fasting, when you're feeling those headaches and you're feeling hangry and you're feeling all the weird symptoms that you get sometimes, you know that that's all withdrawal from your sugar addiction. So don't take it lightly that sugar is actually a true addiction. And fasting will help you detox from that. So that's one of the things that I realized in my life, that fasting was so crucial to my success, because fasting is like the only thing that really kickstarts my journey into quitting sugar in general. Because you guys know I used to have a really bad sugar addiction, and if ever I have a little bit of a relapse, if I do a fast, boom, my brain is focused again and I detox from the sugar and I don't need it anymore. It's hard at the beginning, even if you're doing OMAD or intermittent fasting or alternate day fasting. If you quit sugar, you know that the first 1, 2, even 3 weeks are the hardest, but after those first 21 days, when you start building that habit, you don't actually crave sugar as much anymore. The first couple of days, you're gonna be upset, you're gonna be irritable, you're gonna feel sad, but the more it goes on, the more you realize you don't need sugar as badly as you thought you did. So fasting is gonna help you really quickly get rid of your sugar addiction, and then you could kind of really change that relationship with food, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. There are a lot of other benefits to fasting, but these are my top 9 favorite fasting benefits that apply to me. So I like these benefits the most because these ones really affect my life the most. But if you guys have any other benefits, please put them down in the comments so other people can read it. This is really a community that we've been building, so helping each other out. If people have questions, giving them your hand, sharing experiences, helping them along in the fasting journey, that's so important to me. And if you want to continue spreading awareness about fasting and helping me with my mission to create awareness and help people with fasting-focused lifestyle, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that like button, hit the notification bell, write a comment, and share my video with others for other people to see. If you know someone in your life who's kind of anti-fasting, show this video to them. It's possible that they'll be closed-minded at the beginning and they'll be a little bit skeptical about it, and they'll be like, who's this random person on YouTube? Like, you can't listen to this person. But I've done a lot of research, and there's a lot of research out there, and I put a couple links and books in the description box below, like Dr. Fung's book, The Obesity Code, The Complete Guide to Fasting, which is also by Dr. Fung. So take this information with a grain of salt, But maybe it's a good idea to start planting those tiny seeds about fasting in the minds of the people around you. Even if you don't want to get into the full-on debate about how fasting is good, but it's a good thing to plant those little seeds and maybe eventually they'll come around. So keep that in mind, plant those little seeds, share my video, like I said, subscribe, like, comment, do all of that, because I really want to grow this channel and help people succeed, help people get healthy, help people lose weight, help people live nicer, happier, healthier lives. So if you guys want to help me with that mission, then hit subscribe, share my video today with someone. I would really appreciate that. And one little thing to remember is that fasting's not necessarily good for everyone. So I highly recommend that you guys go check with your professional first, check with your doctor or physician first, because some people shouldn't be fasting at all. People who are breastfeeding, nursing, pregnant shouldn't be fasting. Anyone who's on existing medication, anyone who has pre-existing health conditions, anyone who's prone to eating disorders, anyone under the legal age. So if you're a young child, you shouldn't be fasting. There's other things that you can do, but talk to your doctor. You really should consult someone before starting any type of new protocol. I'm just here to keep you guys accountable and motivated, but remember that you need to do your own research, come to your own conclusions, and check with your own doctor and physician to see what works for you. So that's all I can say for today. I hope you liked my video about the 9 benefits that I love the most, like the top 9 benefits about water fasting or fasting in general. If you guys like this video, you know what to do. I'll see you guys next time. Happy fasting. Thanks for watching. Bye.